thrifting at my local scene, and it's, well, I'm not gonna hold my breath. I came across these Wrangler 20X thick stitch jeans. They're $8 and some change. I usually can sell these for mid to upper 20s. And then just right down the rack, I came across these Wrangler retro slim bootcut jeans. I need to figure out the size on them, but I think they're worth a grab. These have a great sell-through rate in the gray colorway. And so I don't usually buy a lot of Wrangler, but I do like the Wrangler Retro and Wrangler 20X line. The local store is the most hit or miss Goodwill you could imagine, and most of the time that's about all I find. So I came across this Elevate women's puffer vest. This is a brand I'm not used to, and it was a little deceiving. It had a nice little logo hit embroidery on it. And then it had the reflective mylar looking interior. But again, a brand I'm not familiar with, so I went ahead and looked it up, and it's not worth the grab, especially for 15. So I'm gonna walk. All right, looks like a old pair of Hoka running shoes. Got them at 20 bucks, beat tail, definitely gonna skip. Scooted up on these Keen H2 Newport water sandals. This is a huge bread and butter sale, so I'm gonna buy these. The price isn't terrible, it's $6 and some change. Normally when I find them in thrift stores, they're usually $8 to $10, and I don't buy them because I find them at garage sales very often. But these are a very different colorway. Kind of got that gum toe and the tan look, which is a little more rare because I've sold a lot of these. So for this price, I'm gonna grab them. I'll probably price them up a little bit more. Generally I can get low 30s for these, but these might go mid 30s, maybe even a little more. Here's the lowdown on my local Goodwill. They struggle to keep employees here, like lots of Goodwills, but they tend to staff more hard good processors and generally only have one soft good processor for the clothing. And so there is a mountain of clothing in the back that just slowly gets put out. And I imagine if they could focus on putting a few more people on that clothing, it would probably be a better store for purchasing clothing. Hard to say. I'm not so sure why they got Christmas stuff out still too. Kind of weird. Super glad I went back and looked at the very end of a new rack that was just rolled out. These are Mountain Hardwear men's hiking shorts. They're just kind of a light stone gray, not a bad size, pretty good shape. I wish the price was a couple bucks less, but that's getting to be the standard for better branded hiking shorts around here. And I probably could sell these for 25 or maybe a little bit more. So I'm gonna grab a pretty sweet score. Now this is a knockoff. It's not the famous brand, and I forget the famous brand, but this is only $7. These are used, this is an Ayurvedic pain treatment technique, and this is kind of like the bed of nails thought. But what this does is it helps improve circulation and removes exudate and inflammatory responses in the body. So I'm gonna scoop this up because I'm super into wellness, health, and fitness. And I didn't want to pay $100 for one of these, and this guy's only $7, so I could give a shit less what brand it is. I'm not gonna buy this, but this is the only way to cold smoke salmon. I've spent a considerable amount of time up in Alaska, and if you're a native Alaskan or a transplant and you love catching salmon and smoking it, this is your best friend. Well, I guess I shouldn't have been talking bad about the local store, because I did find a couple good pair of jeans today and a decent pair of shoes I'll throw in my spring death pile. And super happy to find the pillow and mat. And I wish I could think of the name of the brand that is very well known, but you can never go wrong with investing in things for your health, your mobility. As we age, we decline, we fall apart. And so the best thing you can do is combat that with staying in shape, eating right, and just taking care of yourself. It's all a part of loving yourself. So I'll get off that spiel. I'm gonna race up to the next thrift store, which is just right down the road, and then probably one other small thrift store. And hopefully we'll find some good stuff to resell online for profit. So sitting right outside of a smaller thrift store right down the road from my Goodwill in my local area. This thrift store is called Twice Blessed. It was actually ran and owned by several of my parents' good friends from church. Unfortunately, the gentleman that started it and kind of ran it recently passed away, but his wife is just a sweetheart. She is continuing to operate the business like a champ. She just hooks me up, continuously gives me tremendously large discounts, and I only wish that she had a larger store with a larger inventory. But regardless, I'm grateful for the deals, grateful to have such a good friend. So I'm gonna go in here, give her some love, spin through this store, race out of here, hit the next stop. If you've made it this far, why don't you go ahead and hit that like button? I'd appreciate it. Like I said, this is a smaller thrift store, so it has a smaller clothing section and a very small shoe aisle, but I found some pretty nice shoes here in the past. consistency is the key. So this is a pretty good find. However, I won't sell this online in the sense of eBay. I'll probably just do a Facebook marketplace and list it to Craigslist. This is a Burton snowboard with Burton bindings and a Dakine snowboard case. It's listed at 50 bucks. I'm gonna go ahead and scoop it up. I sell snowboards and skis and boots and bindings and snowboarding equipment like that locally that's too big to ship, and do pretty good with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a move on it because this is in pretty darn good shape. And Burton is the top tier brand for snowboarding. All right, so I only paid 20 bucks for that snowboarding case that was listed at 50. I'm just incredibly happy about that deal. I just need to be good about listing it to Facebook Marketplace and not stashing it in a closet like I have several other snowboards that I still haven't put up for sale. All right, this bad boy's a plank, so I'm gonna have to tip it up. So not exactly sure what I'll get for that snowboard. Need to do a little bit of research because it looks like it's a newer model. The bindings also look fairly newer. But in general, I'll usually sell most snowboards in decent condition for about 60 to 100 bucks if they have bindings. But if they're a brand like Burton, and generally Burton is top tier, I'll price those up. And so with this having the case, I might be able to get 150 bucks, maybe a little bit more out of it. We'll just have to do a little bit of footwork and try to research. All right, I'm gonna go at it hard in the paint here at the Secondhand Wolf thrift store. Let's hope for the best. Well, not much so far in here. Just a lot of junk, low-end brand t-shirts and polo shirts. But I'm gonna stay positive, keep digging deep. Okay, I know this guy looks a little beat up, but this guy's worth a grab. This is a digital camo Ariat flame resistant work utility hoodie. I've sold like 3 of these in the last 6 months, and even beat up, they usually will sell for, I don't know, upper 20s to mid 30s if I remember right. This does have outside embroidery, but that's not uncommon because many of these are sponsored or supplied by the oil field company that is clothing the person wearing them. But I'm gonna go ahead and scoop this guy up if the price is right. I'm not sure what they want for it though. I don't have a price tag, so I'm gonna be cautious with it. I'm always keeping an eye out for those Fire King milk glass mugs with company logos and prints, but especially the, excuse me, especially the Fire King mugs that are jadeite with the C handle. Those are very thick and durable, and a lot of them were used in diners, but also residential use. And that's kind of one of my personal bolos or grail finds. I'm still looking. I'm a firm believer that your best revenge is in your success, and so this is hilarious. The medical company I once worked for also owns this oil field company here, and I have found 2 of their jackets in past picks and sold them for profit. And this is a sweet brand. It's a Mountain Hardwear puffer, so I'm definitely gonna grab it. If I was to guess, this was probably the owner's wife's jacket, and she probably dropped it off here. But like I said, when you can quit working for somebody and find their shit and then sell it and make a profit, you win. So there is a huge market out there for really ugly vintage sweaters, and this would probably fall into that category. I'm not gonna worry about getting this, but I just wanted to put that out there that you gotta be inspired by the things you sell, fascinated by them, interested, and that'll keep this whole game spicy and it keeps it from getting boring. So keep an eye out for definitely all wool. Look for ones that are 3D or have the raised stitching, and anything with a cool pattern. Oh, I'm so sorry.
As soon as she came home, like, okay, now I'm getting hungry, so I had to stop by after church. I had to stop by Wendy's to get me something.
Had to get some nutrients, huh?
Like, okay, they're home, they're grounded, they ain't getting out of their pens.
I can understand that. Well, thanks for the help today. Have a great day, man. Just made the drive down the road, and I'm outside at the thrift store right outside from my house. Gonna race in here, see if I can't find anything good. Prices are always pretty choice here, but sometimes the inventory is a little bit limited, and I was just here yesterday, so we'll see what we can find. This is a cool piece. This is a Lucky brand track jacket. It is vintage. Did look it up. There's a little bit of a market for these, but as I was inspecting it a little bit closer, the zipper line's got a flaw to it, so just gonna walk on it, but kind of cool. Just wanted to share it with you. Gotta be cautious with vintage clothing because it can take a long time for the right person to come along and grab it. So like I said, just here yesterday, not a whole lot of difference in the inventory, and this is a smaller thrift store that's operated by people who volunteer their time that go to the neighboring church that this establishment is owned by. And so they just don't sometimes move inventory in super quick, and that's often the case with a lot of smaller thrift stores. But I'm gonna race up into the other section of the store, look at the hard goods, say hello, and probably get back on the road and get back home. So the kid in me was really hoping to find a bunch of vintage micro machines because I loved those when I was a little guy, but the universe just isn't giving me that gift yet. Or I'll always be a small town dude. Love my hometown of Aztec, New Mexico. Shout out to the Aztec Tigers football and wrestling team. Love you guys. Keep it up. Well, didn't find much in there, but as I was walking out, the ladies I was visiting with who are employees here were processing some laundry, and I just happened to notice an old vintage fleece jacket, and so I went ahead and curiosity killed the cat, took a look at it. So let me flip this around. And I came across this vintage Patagonia fleece. It is a zip up, looks to be late 80s, probably more early 90s, mid 90s. Does have a bunch of cat hair on it. It does have a cigarette burn on one of the sleeves, but believe it or not, this old vintage Patagonia fleece stuff will sell, and especially if it has a pattern print on it. The uglier, the funkier, the better. And so these ladies just gave this to me for a few bucks, super dirt cheap, super grateful for them always caring for me. They decided to give me a little bit of a discount because I'm just the person I am and because this hadn't been washed or cleaned. So I'll gladly do that to not have to pay an extra couple bucks. And now I'm gonna get on the road and get back home. If you like this video, please hit like, make a comment, or please subscribe.